Hey cowboys, and welcome to another exciting edition of Reading Ranch. I'm Katie Hunt, and I take my mother's more questionable literature and give it a 5-minute review based solely on the content on the back of the book and some of the excerpts inside. This week I'm actually diving into some other mother's collection. First, I'd like to thank Meg, my friend Meg, for asking her mother to share the wealth, I guess. And she gave me some amazing books, which is going to kick off a few weeks of Amish Week. Yes, folks, Amish romance novels. I'm excited too. So let's just kick it right off, shall we? With this first amazing book, The Choice. Very plain Jane cover, but I mean, the Amish people are very plain. It's part of their beliefs, so I mean, I wasn't expecting some sexy cowboy on the front or anything, chests hanging out, or that would completely not make sense. It's part of a series, the Lancaster County Secrets series. Let's just dive right into it, shall we? Lancaster County has always been her home, but where does her heart belong? One moment, Carrie Weaver was looking forward to running away with Lancaster Barnstormers pitcher Solomon Riley. Plans that included leaving the Amish community where they grew up. The next moment, she was staring into a future as broken as her heart. Now, Carrie is faced with a choice. But will this opportunity be all she hoped? Or will this decision, this moment in time, change her life forever? A tender story of love, forgiveness, and looking below the surface, The Choice uncovers the sweet simplicity of the Amish world and shows that it's never too late to find your way back to God. Jesus in here too? Religious novels. Well, this is new. Let's go. The focus of the bishop's sermon that morning was on the sinful nature of man. He was very effective. Everyone finished the morning feeling especially convicted of their wickedness. Afterward, the benches were moved and the tables set up, and the women served a soup and sandwich lunch. Carrie joined several young women as they brought the food to the men. After the men finished eating, the women and children took their turn. Can't all eat together? Gross. When the meal was over and everything was cleaned up, adults usually gathered in small groups to visit as children played or napped. Riveting. Herded the family into the buggy for a silent ride home. Daniel sat down on Eli's right side and picked up the reins, clucking at the horses and getting it trotting. Carrie and Yanni sat in the back seat, Andy between them. This is a very detailed car ride home. The trip seemed to last forever, and the cramped quarters in the buggy didn't help much either. Finally, Yanni broke the quiet. I think that bishop is needing a little more fiber in his diet. Maybe I'll mix up some of my special prune tea for him. Helps when the plumbing gets backed up. Mother, you are speaking of a bishop, a man chosen by God. And that man's older than Moses, Yoni muttered under her breath. Daniel lifted his head and said, "Didn't you hear the bishop today? Heaven's death to the cries of sinners." Carrie's heart nearly broke when she saw him start to shake, then hold his head in his hands as he wept. Quietly, she slipped out the back door to give him privacy. Why are you crying? His face seemed a little older, tired. He had dark circles under his eyes, as if he hadn't rested well. "We have nothing to talk about." Her words came out harsh, coming from an old and festering anger that she had felt. "Carrie," he said, coming closer, "I made a mistake." He was close enough now that she could smell him. It was a familiar smell to her, a smell that she had once loved. She took a step back, nearly knocking over the milk bucket. "I had to give baseball a try. When your father died so unexpectedly, and you wouldn't come with me, I panicked. I never should have left without you. I never should have left without telling you I was going, that I'd be back for you." He smiled at her, but she didn't smile back. She crossed her arms and looked away, just to avoid his gaze. She was afraid if she looked at him, she'd be drawn in, unable to resist him. That always works. "But how could you have married him? How could you have not waited for me? You knew I loved you. You knew I'd be coming for you." Her chin lifted a notch, defiance surging through her. "You gave me no reason to think you'd be back." Burn. He put his hands on her arm. Carrie, we can't still be together. It's not too late. You can bring Andy. I'll take care of both of you. She jerked his hands off of her. I was baptized into the church, and I'm married now. He gave a slight shrug. Like, so? You made your choice, Soul. I made mine. You just married him to spite me. Carrie gave a short laugh. You don't have any idea why I married Daniel. Carrie, you don't really know him. And you do? Yeah, you do? What? I know things you don't know. He hasn't been honest with you. There's something in his past. Of course there is. Dun dun dun. Here comes Soul causing all kinds of trouble. They also speak some Dutch, and they actually wrote out some of the Dutch phrases in here, so there is a good chance you're going to see me have to try and butcher the language if there's anyone Dutch watching, which I doubt, but if there is, I apologize. I haven't run into any Dutch yet. Andy, Carrie said, pulling her hand out of the cookie jar. Where did you disappear to? You're supposed to weed the garden. Damn you! We're about to eat. Hope needs milk first. She led him by the shoulders to meet Abel. This is Daniel's cousin, Abel. He's come for a visit. Andy looked Abel up and down. Ik lark suguk net. I don't like his looks. Oh god, I'm gonna butcher this. Why are they yelling at each other in Dutch? Carrie squeezed his shoulders in warning. Andy, was in der woods in Lutz. What in the world is wrong with you? She turned to Abel. Oh, Kanux dus press. Oh, pensive filter nut. No. Can you speak the Pennsylvania Dutch? No, I can't. Abel shrugged. I'm pretty rusty. You're doing better than me, Abel. You're doing better than me. Carrie turned to Andy. Speak English. Yes, please. Oh, wow. I was hoping we never have to do that again. That night, as Carrie was getting ready for bed, she pulled out Daniel's letters. Every few days, she steeled herself to read another. Tonight, she wanted to finish them. July 8th. Dear Abel, you'd better sit down for this. I asked Carrie Weaver, Jacob's daughter, to marry me, and she said yes. I'm still a little stunned myself. It all happened rather fast. Ever since we arrived at the Weavers, Dad's been encouraging me, downright badgering, to take an interest in Carrie. More than an interest. She's a lovely girl, don't get me wrong, but I still have Katie in my heart. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. I think she deserves better. You better leave him. You should be in bed. I'm not sick. I just hurt my arm. I'll say. She turned her attention back to the blade. Carrie, what do you think you're doing? I'm sharpening the blade so that I can prune the apple trees. His jaw dropped. By yourself? Like it's hard? So you're going to have an awful time with it if you don't let me help you now. She jumped off the seat and swatted his hand in a be my guest gesture. Carrie's shoulders sagged. Steelhead, she's Amish. Steelhead nodded. I know. We have a few things to figure out. A few things to figure out? How dare you get married and like each other? I can't imagine living the rest of my life without you. I love you. Be my wife, he grinned, that crooked grin. Be my Amish wife. When Soul left her for baseball, she thought her heart was permanently broken. God had a different idea for her, a better one. God led her to Daniel, who led her to Abel. What? Simple as that. You love me, I love you. As simple as that. They shared a smile as deep as an intimate as a kiss. So they didn't even kiss? There's no kissing in this. And wait a minute. So Soul is completely out of the picture because he's with this girl named Maddie now. So he comes back from playing baseball and Daniel isn't any good for her anymore. So now she's with Abel? This book gets 1. Well, that was The Choice. And this was written by Suzanne Woods Fisher. And I'm sure you could pick this up at a Barnes & Noble somewhere if you are interested in boring romance novels where apparently nobody does anything except talk about 15 other Amish people. And that's it. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe. Make sure you like this video. Comment down in the section below. There will be another one in this series, or at least another series, because I know this one was riveting. Thanks for watching, guys. You can follow me on Twitter at juggles_geese. And I will see you later, cowboys.